Fires of an unprecedented nature will occur, will suddenly come. Fires of an unprecedented nature will suddenly come this year. And I do see fires, leaving some vulnerable and exposed. And I get chills when I say that one too. Okay, so the Tower of London. What is up, game changers and soul warriors? I'm here today to talk about something very important, okay? We are going through a lot of changes, some of them uncomfortable, and there's mass amounts of fires going on in California. Now, if you watched my 2025 predictions, I actually said there were fires coming. But not only that, I channeled a message from Creator today about those fires. I asked what he wanted me to bring forth for you guys about those fires. And in all of the work that I did, from activating pyramids to clearing Mount Shasta, cutting California off life support, bringing down mass amounts of sunlight, and especially the pyramids too, I have said many times that when Christ light comes in, what doesn't align will burn. Now, there are specifics that God wants me to show you and talk to you about. But first, I'm going to show you the 2025 predictions. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen with you. By the way, if you're new here, my name is Master Juniper Blue Mystique. I am an Ascension Master, a Master Healer and Divine Guide. Since 2019, I had a Kundalini awakening and I've been bringing through the return of Christ. This is very real. So pyramid activations, clearing Mount Shasta, cutting California off life support, activating all the pyramids, freeing Jesus' soul, undoing the Holy Grail, and more has actually occurred on this channel. It's all there. I've uploaded those videos for you. So let's check this out because I actually heard or saw another channel, which I found interesting. They channeled a message from galactic beings. They do that often. And in their thing, they said these fires were trying to attempt to take you off your timeline. That's not true. What will take you off your timeline of ascension is focusing on fear and the destruction rather than spiritual discipline, encompassing the light and love, and still choosing love and rising above. Okay, so it is important that we focus on spiritual discipline, co-creation, heart-centered actions, and balance from the heart center. Okay, that is the New Earth blueprint. So the more we anchor into that and not so much focusing on the fear and the projections, we will rise. Okay, so the assumption that these fires were done by darkness, yes and no. Okay. Let's listen to the 2025 predictions because already a lot of those things are coming through and we're just days into this and I'm getting chills. Okay. Lots of chills. So let's see what those have to say. I actually did speak of fires. I watched a few minutes into it this morning because this is what God pointed to. But I'm going to also show you other videos that are important to watch because in all of them, when I bring down Christ's light, because that's what I've been doing, I have said that when it comes in, what doesn't align will burn. I've also shown you that in birthing the new earth, we are in like day 3, bringing through that the matrix has been separated and it is a karmic play out. So let's listen here. Let me make sure. Hang on just a second. Pause for a second. I am going to make sure that you guys can hear it. There we go. It has noise suppression, and I don't want that. So let me tell you, the electronics have been wonky today. So we are going to play this. And this is my predictions for 2025 that I just did probably a little over a month ago. This time thing is always off. So I channel through God. That's who I channel through in the higher beings of light, angelic presence, other galactic beings as well, but also the Galactic Council, and just more, the gods. So I've also undone the Sistine Chapel, freed the cherub angels. You can see this painting on my wall here that I did, which was, you know, a lot of changes coming in. Fires, souls being set free has to do with the pyramids that I activated.
I did the Nile as well, you guys. So these are very real, and we're going through it now. But I have said in almost every workshop that I've done is that, like a lot of them, when I bring down Christ's light and things, what doesn't align will burn. So let's listen, because that's why they depict hell as fire. And even birthing the new earth, day one, you could see the line of fire because Christ's light doesn't match with that, and it does cause a reaction. It can also cause people to do things that aren't helpful and that aren't good. So can man be setting these fires? Maybe, but you also have to understand is that California's been cut off from life support when I cleared Mount Shasta 1 and 2. And Archangel Samael, the original fallen, actually burned there. So a lot of fires came through. Kilimanjaro, a lot of fires. When I activated Kilimanjaro, I spoke of fires. It's continual. But let's listen to this because my predictions for 2025 speak of fires. Let's listen.
They said I was going to change the land there, but nothing else got cut. I was like, is this it?
I'm going to go backwards because I do mention California. So what I do is what I say, everything I say is important. So I always say put it in your pocket because you never know how it's going to play out. Every detail of what I say is important. Okay, let's listen.
It's actually in the painting up there. Stuff came through, let me tell you. And I also asked what God meant by specifically by some will go, who will go? Some will stay, who stays? And some will never know life this way. That is what you call Judgment Day. Okay, still with me? You ready? Very important. Let's go. 2025. Whoa, whoa. What is coming? By the way, you guys, I was meditating yesterday after because I know a lot of people got really excited about the 7.0 earthquake and the possible tsunami coming in through San Francisco. Now, trust me, I did the work. And I'm like, oh, is it now? Like, is it happening now? And I know the wrath path has widened. Okay? And I know it'll never be when we think it's going to be. So I didn't really tune into those things. I didn't really want to pay attention to those things because you never know until it's going to be. But God did say that was a warning. Okay, I asked God specifically, like, what was that? And God said that's a warning to what's to come, a precursor, and a build-up. Okay? Because I do know I cut off life support to California. That is true. I undid Mount Shasta. Mount Shasta was very dark. It's not in this painting. It's actually in the painting up there that somebody else painted. That one, dun dun dun, you see all those souls coming out. Yeah, that was a prediction because that painting was done by somebody else before I did the work. They're like, I don't know what this means. And she painted it and sent it to me in my reading, from my reading. And I actually freed a bunch of souls out of Mount Shasta. Then I returned the root chakra back to Fiji. And in part 2 of Mount Shasta, Archangel Samael burned. We cleared out all bloodshed and cut off life support to California. And I said changes and tides will come in San Francisco. And these are in the videos on my channel. This is in the Return of Christ work. Not to mention when we activated the masculine pyramids, Kilimanjaro, Congo, British Columbia, Mount Shasta came in again because it was just not of light, okay? And I've mentioned several times that changes in tides will come in through San Francisco. So yesterday I was like, is this it? Like, is it happening? And God said, remember, things have changed. The wrath path has widened, and so it's making way for bigger movement, bigger changes. But California is cut off from life support. Nothing else was. Do you feel me? When I did.
So just listen very carefully. This is very relevant. And after this, I'm going to show you some other things God pointed to and what he says, okay? But in here, this is the predictions for 2025. I keep going about this, and I talk about fires too.
Did Nigeria, Botswana, and Zimbabwe portals, you guys, those pyramid activations? I actually said I was going to change the land there. But nothing else got cut off from life support except for California. That's not a joke. That is very real, okay? And I get chills every time I say that.
Now, when you say cut off from life support, you're kind of seeing that play out. They're having a hard time. Like, it's right there, right? That means many ways, it's very vast to what I say. So please just listen very intently and put everything in your pocket.
It will not remain on the map of creation. Okay, for new earth vibration. It just won't. It's too dark. What that was kind of the beginning of the end of what happened, right? I don't know how else to say that. Watch the videos. All right. So just so you understand that, that was a precursor and a warning. So 2025 predictions and spirit need to knows. Are you ready? Are you ready to hear with me? Okay. God said, shifts of a massive kind, ones you should have already been prepared for. So the reason God bypassed some time, you'll see in that Nile video where I transitioned, and then I ended up taking us through the portals. I really did. I'm going to upload that to the Path to Righteousness. It was over 18-day period time, workshops and things, and I took us through the stairway to heaven. I took us through the stairway to new earth and through the end of ways. And so we are currently actively going through those portals on earth now, okay? And I also said in there why he did that, okay? Because people weren't pushing past that resistance. There were supposed to be a lot of people that rose with me that helped clear things for mankind. And a lot of ways I've had to do a lot of them on my own. And it wasn't supposed to be that way. Well, I didn't want to do it. Well, I'm tired. But I'm strong, okay? You have to forgive me. I get a little goofy.
Just keep listening.
I am plain English text, but I love, my kids laugh all the time because I will be anything and everything from time to time. I love Australia, but their accent doesn't come through very good for me. Anywho, back to seriousness. 2025, God says, shifts of a massive kind, ones you should have been already being prepped for, are coming. The end of a familiar line for mankind, okay? The end of a familiar line for mankind. Now you need to listen to these very carefully and just put them in our pocket, because when I say something, it could mean exactly what I say, and it could also mean many more things. Okay, spirit is very vast, and they speak in somewhat cryptic form. So in some of these things, I talk about fires, okay? And when I talk about it, might be an actual physical fire, and it might be a representation of the end of it. Does that make sense? But some of these are physical fires coming as well, they said. So let's listen. The end of a familiar line of mankind, governmental truths. Listen to this, because somebody dies. Governmental truths coming out in waves, and a collapse of a false, malevolent system. Governmental truths coming out in waves, and a collapse of a false, malevolent system. 2025. Biden dies. Oh, I just got chills. Biden dies. Okay? And Trump exposes things some are not prepared for. Collapse of a financial system. The chills were overwhelming. Trump exposes things some are not prepared for. Biden does pass away in 2025. That's what Spirit says. Collapse of a financial. Oh, the chills were overwhelming when I say that. Oh my goodness. Collapse of a financial system and systems. There's more to that too. An exposure of a new form of money control system. Elite systems will fall across the globe. So I've also tuned into the medical field, the transportation system. They say something about trains and planes and even power lines. But if you've watched the Return of Christ work I've done, I kind of told you power lines will crumble and burn. And other things, because it's a false system, okay? So everything from the matrix must fall. Does that mean that those that stay are going to be left with nothing? No. Let's listen. Are you with me? Biden dies. That's what they said. When they said that, I'm like, ooh. Okay, you really want me to say it? Like, it's on here, and I got it again today. So I started channeling this the other day.
So we'll come back and listen to that. But for now, I want you to just hear what God says about the fires right now, okay? I talked about fires in 2025. Also, I talked about Pope John Paul II, I think is what they said came out. And I questioned that, but it came up for death of that. So the Vatican, all of this is going to be exposed. This year's a big year and it's already happening fast. So we've had so many airplanes already crash. I talked about airplanes suddenly falling out of the sky. There was like things are happening fast. Okay. So my predictions are already playing out and we're only 10 days into January of 25. So you guys, the end is, it's speeding up. Okay, so I want you to consider that the fires are because of what was done. So also they're pointing to one of the other videos that I did recently where I undid all of the pentagram. So the pentagram, through the Pentagon and things, this was the portals of darkness. They used the elements. So everything that they took from God and they used for purposes of darkness are now having a karmic kickback, and fire is an element. And so I want you to understand that California had a lot of darkness from a lot of Hollywood elites that were not, they were part of the governmental system of yuck and muck. We're seeing that play out more and more. And so, you know, there's a lot going on here. And so elements in their own have their own karmic kickback. And fire is an element that had, I'm getting a lot of chills, that has now been returned back to the totality of God. And I'm going to show you where to find that video as well. But let's listen to this. This is what God says about the fires right now. When Christ's light comes in, what doesn't align will burn. I've said this many times, bringing it all through, from pyramid activations to the power of the sun returning, undoing the darkness of the moon, Mount Shasta, and more. Mount Shasta 1 and 2 is a very important cursor here. Pyramid activations and work of the sun, those are very important things to watch the totality of. Also the recalibration of the earth, Revelations 21, 12, and 13, all played out. And I'm going to re-upload some of those, okay? I'm just going to upload it in the raw video that it was for you all. And you need to watch all of what I do, not just 5 minutes. Like, you've really got to sit with it. And you really have to listen to what I say, because I give details, especially from the middle to the end in all of these, when I really truly am in the heart of the work. Because these are workshops. This is the actual work of Christ. Okay, and that's not normal. You have a lot of people talking about it, a lot of people channeling through other beings. I did the work and I brought down the light of Christ. And when I activated the pyramids, my heart became enlarged. Okay, my body swelled when my DM died and I got a walk in. Like, it was a very physically real and spiritually real, and it took a lot for me to understand. And I was doing the work. So you have to pay attention. You need to watch them, because we can only see as far as our shadow goes, okay? So listen, this is what he said specifically. Something will be revealed in the Palisades, something strange and unruly. They are not done. The fires are not done. Purging of another kind. Now, when they say they are not done, does that mean in California? I also see them spreading to other areas, but I feel like the biggest, most totality of damage will be California, because it won't be in the map in the new earth. I've said that many times, and that is depicted many times in all the work that I did. But the wrath path widened partly because a lot of people weren't choosing God, that were supposed to rise with me and love and joy and all of that stuff, because that's the frequency of God. They were carrying that light and still bringing darkness in. Not only that, we got more work done. So I undid the Sistine Chapel. I undid all of the pentagram and the Pentagon, and undid the money matrix. So more work was actually done. So these fires are not done. Purging of another kind. Elements, karmic kickback. Okay, so elements, just like I told you, they have their own karmic kickback. So they will be part of what's purging the earth. Not just water, fire, water, wind. Okay, all of the elements have their own karmic kickback. When I birthed the earth, or processed her death, I said she has her own karmic kickback. Okay, so all of the things of God, religion, even spiritual cortexes. Okay, I am upgrading Reiki as we speak. I'm bringing it into the house of God. It's part of my Light Healers Academy that's starting February 3rd. I have new channeled sigils that came through yesterday for the truth of Reiki. So I don't call it Reiki either. So even modalities have to upgrade and be brought back to the wholeness. All parts of religion that were divided, the Merkabah that was stolen. So if you notice in the fire, a Jewish temple burned. You guys, in all the work that I've been doing, I've said this many times, okay? And I've shown this. All of the divisions, all of the things of God they used against mankind and for purposes of darkness and greed and gain have a karmic kickback. You have to heal all karma. When I undid the Holy Grail and brought down the blood of Christ, I said that it's a karmic shift. We are no longer a karmic planet. You can't be duality anymore. You have to heal it all to rise, okay? And you don't want to be a part of it, and this is why, okay? Because there is a karmic kickback, and that's what this is. It is not a temptation to bring you out of the ascension. If you focus on fear, that will bring you out of the ascension, okay? Because that is not of God, all right? So, something will be revealed in the Palisades, something strange and unruly. They are not done, purging of another kind. Elements, karmic kickback, undoing of the pentagram. One by one, things must go, all designed by karmic flow. Okay? The New Earth blueprint is quite different. And when you watch the birthing of the New Earth that I keep putting up there, that a lot of people aren't quite ready to see apparently yet, is that in day one, my DM soul and I came together fully, and God put our cords in the center of the earth. And then the division of the matrix to the new earth occurred. And on the matrix side, everything was burning. Okay? So when Christ light comes in, what does not align will burn. Or water will help clear and cleanse, or the wind will help cleanse. Truths will be revealed. I've said that. Our real earth will be revealed. Okay. And so my predictions for 2025, the fires are already coming through, and we have all of this other proof. Okay. So let's finish the predictions for 2025. And then I will show you right before I end this where to find the other videos. They're all on my channel, and they're really important, from the pentagram being undone. All of the portals of darkness were closed off. Darkness can't stay, and we cannot be duality anymore, okay? And so truths have to be exposed. We have to purge and cleanse. That's what's happening. But if you focus on fear, and if you're not willing to choose love over everything, and make sure you're heart-centered, soul path aligned, and co-creating, then you're not ascending, okay? So those are the tools of the trade. Money, they will use that against you. You can't allow money to create fear, because you're a creator. You need to get your vibration high and create through heart-centered flow, okay? Soul path alignment. So let's listen.
Okay, Trump exposes things some are not prepared for. An exposure of a new form of money control system, okay? Big shift in humanity. A divide of light and dark. Shifts in land and changes in tides. And this is actual physical land coming, okay? So you think yesterday was something, don't get complacent thinking that it meant nothing's coming either. God says that. That is a warning, and a fair warning, okay? Shifts in land and changes in tides. So that's what I told you. California was cut off from life support. I've been saying that since I cleared Mount Shasta Part 1, but also repeatedly in all of the things that I do. And then I also told you California is not safe. It's cut off from life support, meaning there will be no protections for California.
When you know it really happened,
Also,
when you know it really happened, that's how I could chuckle, because I know what they've done. I know what the darkness did, and I know how much pain it caused and suffrage it caused. And to think there's not a karmic kickback for these things, that's an illusion of grandeur.
Isn't California like the hub of Hollywood?
Hollywood,
which is also like part of the government system too. They're all connected.
all connected.
You know, they're all connected. And when I was channeling missing people Marilyn Monroe said, "What a tangled web we weave." Okay, anyways. So shifts in land and changes in tides. This is actual physical, okay? Water is cleansing. There's gods all over the planet now since I did Fiji part 1 and 2 and I've opened up the God portal. All of the gods in the energetic form are here and they will begin to rise and become one with those that remain, okay? More true earth exposures and exodus of Egypt. What does that mean? Okay, wait. Hear me carefully. More true earth exposures. Okay. So you know how they talk about the inner earth? It's just a false reality crumbling into where you can see truths. Okay. More true earth oh, the chills when I said that one too, y'all. So many validations. I'm clearing something there. But this exodus of Egypt is very important because I did the Nile, Nigeria. There was lots of pyramids that I cleared in Egypt itself, but not the ones that you're familiar with, right? Let's see, Nigeria, Botswana, Zimbabwe,
Budapest.
like Africa is part of the Nile. Like all of that is kind of connected. Also the Sphinx, things I did, the Sphinx, Horus rose from the Sphinx. And sometimes I'm like, I thought that's where he died. And then other times I'm like, that is a portal. Did he just rise out of the portal? I've never asked specifics. I just did the work. I freed the moon, completely healed the moon, realigned the sun and the moon. And then Horus, after all darkness was cleared, the Nile was done. Horus's soul was set free and found my DM. It was pretty cool to see. That's on my channel too. So when I say the exodus of Egypt, also when I was doing one of the things, I don't know if it was with the Sphinx itself or what I was doing there, but I saw all the dirt kick up and all of these things happen. So there will be a reign of justice flowing through there. And I think that's what this means, exodus of Egypt. But I didn't really look that up. Egypt. So more true earth exposures, and it goes with the work I've done, you guys. When I was doing the pyramid activations and clearing Sphinx, something in there, I remember seeing this a couple times where the sand would kick up and like big tornado formations, which means changes in the land. And I kept saying exposures, and they need to get rid of energies that don't belong there. I said that. So I felt like that's what that meant when this was coming through. But again, spirit is very vast, okay? So don't place limitations on this message. Just put them in our pocket. Big shift in humanity, a divide of the light and dark, which is already happening. Shifts in land and changes in tides. So I have actually said many, many times, near Nigeria, Botswana, Zimbabwe, where I did that work, the land will shift. I've also said that changes in tides will come in through San Francisco, through the bridge there. I've seen that, wiping out the bridge and people screaming and didn't know it was coming. And then I've also said that California is not safe and it will become very much so wiped out. Whatever that means, right?
So plans can also change too. We don't know when the water's coming, but fire, I've mentioned several times that what doesn't align will also burn. So God will never tell you when and exactly how. If they do, that's somebody's ego. Also saying they're trying to take us off of our timeline of ascension. That is not open heart connection to the truth. That's fear mongering, and that's what they're kind of referring to, is you don't want to focus on the fear and the disasters, which I don't try to do, but I did predict fires. So let's just keep listening to this.
So, and now we have also more truth earth exposures. So the true earth will rise and the false one will crumble, physically and spiritually speaking, God's saying, physically and spiritually speaking. And then the exodus of Egypt. Also, that's part of the Nile wrath. Sekhmet has returned. Okay, so watch that. Further development and activity of pyramid activations, portals exposed. So the pyramids that I activated, there were 13 of them, I believe. It was Indonesia, Fiji, Myanmar, Machu Picchu, Budapest, Thailand. Those were all feminine ones.
Ecuador.
More. And then there was Kilimanjaro, Congo, British Columbia, Ecuador. Yeah, Ecuador. There's 13 of them. Okay, so further development and activity. So I see things happening around those portals. And those are what's sparking a lot of the earthquake activity since I've done them.
And the fire, because all of the elements have been returned back to the light and they have a karmic kickback. And there's no coincidence that California is getting hit like this. It all comes together. Um, Also, within the pyramids, if you watch the pyramid videos, which all of them were posted on this channel in the Return of Christ playlist, I give specifics all the time about things. From Hawaii burning that time, and I needed to move it over, and then shortly after that, within 7 days, the Lahaina fire happened. Just vroom, right? So fires are not heard of in all the work that I do. It's quite common, actually. It is a purge. The earth truly has a karmic kickback. Consider they used all elements. They used the religion, which is scattered pieces of God's truth and light, even in the spiritual community against mankind. So all of that has to be called back. But if you watch the pyramid activations, in each one, I say specifics. And I feel like that's what they're talking about, becoming seen and heightened. So, um, yeah, this is kind of why the wrath path widened too. You can't bring judgments into the house of God. Fear is not of God. Judgments are not of God. The money, the way they had the money system, is not of God. We should not be afraid to live. We should not power money over love. We are powerful creators if our vibration's high, we're heart centered, we're in balance from the heart center, soul path oriented, and co creating with spirit. Abundance is coming in. That is the only way it will. Okay? So keep listening.
We have gone up in earthquake activity, fires, things like that. I would actually talk about those the coming when I would do the pyramid activations. The Kilimanjaro one, I talked about the White House burning. I also talked about a fire coming in Hawaii, and then days later, the Lahaina fire occurred. Okay, I actually said I needed to move it over because I didn't want to lose all of Hawaii, and I kept saying fires, 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 and then it happened. So, what you have to watch a pyramid to understand what this means: further development and activity.
And Mount Shasta 1 and 2, I think part 2, I might have said that, ooh, fire spark. Like, they don't like the work I'm doing. Some of them were set by them. That is true. But that's because they're angry. Okay, so anger, the wrath, um, greed, jealousy, envy, fear. You have to stay clear from all of those. That is what will take you off your ascension line. But the fires are intentional. Like, they're gonna purge. California is not a part of the map of the new earth. It's not. Anything duality is no longer a part of that. And California was quite corrupt. So let's listen. And Mount Shasta was not what you think it was.
Things in physical form and spiritual form. This is both physical to the earth and spiritual. For 2025 coming forward, there will be further development and activity of pyramid activations and portals exposed. So we are now rising through those portals. Those portals are the pyramid activations. That's what caused them. Rising the earth and frequency. Okay? A shift in mentality of the collective soul. Watching my time because I have a healing today. Okay, listen to this one. A shift in I wrote it, I was channeling it all, so some of my handwriting, I'm like, what? Okay, anyways. Shift in mentality of the collective soul, bringing some back to the whole of the one. Okay. Religion exposed. Okay. Sudden death of the Pope was written, but I didn't get clarification on that, so I put a question mark. Religion exposed, more than you know, because I undid the Sistine Chapel. And I've also, all religion has to fall. I've called back the Jewish symbol, which was the Merkabah. I've called back all the symbols that were divided. It was everything of God's light was divided and separated, and it can't be that way anymore. So it's all been called back to the whole, and I've talked about that. So, and I also did the Sistine Chapel, and I had to like spray everything with the blood of Christ. And there was another way of anointing of the blood of Christ, okay? And so bringing back the truth of God, we are all connected in the heart space. There is no division. God is only love. There's no evil, right? Like God doesn't use that word ever. If I use that word, it's not from God. It's just darkness and light, okay? And that's where the division lies right now. We cannot be duality anymore. So, religion is more exposures of religion and something about a sudden death of the Pope and more than you know, okay? Those are what was said. Expansion of a limited mind, biggest shift ever of mankind.
And they actually specifically said, I want to clarify that because I left it out. It's in my paper, though. I'll find it. It was Pope John Paul II, death of. And I feel like, again, that's vast. It might be the part of what he brought into the system, too. I don't know the totality of their messages until they play out either. We don't want to put expectations on Spirit's message. We just have to be observers and put it in our pocket and allow it to play out the way it's going to play out. And it will all make sense in the end.
Okay. Then I said, release fear, make harmony with the past. Okay. The biggest shift of mankind is here at last. Realignment to the reign of Christ. So this year coming forward is realignment to the reign of Christ. Reign, R-E-I-N, not like rain, like power, right? Justice to rectify the past. Okay, there's more. Are you with me? This is all what's coming forward. Now remember, just because we're in a calendar year of 2025, that yearly stuff, the time thing is going to shift. Time is a part of the shift. Time is a part of the shift. So they had everything shortened. In birthing the new earth, when I recreated the seasons, they will elongate and we will have no severes. When the earth needs rain, guess what? It's going to rain. When she needs sunshine, she will have sunshine. Okay? We will have seasons, but they will be elongated. And when the earth needs something, the heavens will provide. That's the new earth. There will be no extremes, no earthquake. And then the warning for a tsunami coming in through San Francisco, they even evacuated the whole area and then it never came, right? And so what's going to happen now? People are going to probably be like, nah, we're good. He said it was a warning and a precursor for what is to come. You will never be told when, but trust it does. Okay? Because I told you, I cleared Mount Shasta. This is the Nile portal. This is the end times painting. And then I just completed the new earth painting. So I've completed it. I have not hung it up yet, but this is now the new.
The paintings I do channel through each portal I've cleared or activated, or each ascension phase, big moments within the return of Christ, to even the one somebody else did before I did the work of my energy. It's all very, very return of Christ related.
So I did the Nile painting as I was taking us into the portals. And then God said, okay, paint this one. And I got an image. And so then I painted the new earth painting. Okay?
So the Merkabah is relevant because Jesus didn't die on a cross. They burned him. But the cross broke when they stole his soul, the Holy Grail, using his blood, which is why we needed his blood to cleanse, not water. Religion is false. That is also depicted in this painting as burning, crosses burning, the upside down Bibles burning. Now, under Mount Shasta Part 2, there were a lot of beings with upside down crosses, also under the White House.
Like everything I've done in the Return of Christ, well, most of the differences and the things were painted. I have the 7 kind of posting about the 7. Now, they want me to remind you, we will all have different experiences because this is a karmic play out. Structures will crumble and shifts will, you have to have all karma cleared to rise, okay? Shifts will occur. And I've talked many times about what is karma. It's not so scary, but it deals with the structures, the shackles of the mind, okay? So structures will crumble and shifts will occur from structures of false to a balance of light and pure sovereignty. This is for 2025, but remember, this is going forward in general. Then I asked, what is the end of 2025? And got nothing. Okay. Structures will crumble and shifts will occur from structures of false to a balance of light and pure sovereignty. Beings of light will now rise and be in full view. Under the light of the one, the sun, and the moon. Now, if you've watched the work that I've done, my DM is the moon, and I am the sun. The eye of Horus is on the left side. The eye of Ra is on the right.
This is also coming out in the Reiki that I'm doing now, because I don't like to call it Reiki. That's not what I do. I'm an energy light healer, a master healer. And so in traditional Reiki, I've been learning after I've been channeling through the right stuff, is that they say the masculine's on the right. It's not, because my DM and I have come back together 100%. The masculine should register on your left, with the eye of Horus on your left. That is where I'll feel my DM. And the eye of Ra, the sun, the moon, the sun connection, the eye of Ra is the feminine, and that's on the right. And if you're not there yet, if that doesn't relate to your inner workings, you are not in the new earth yet.
Your brain. And in order to get full activations of those, you have to release all shackles of the mind and be pure sovereign and love and joy and connected through the heart space. Okay? Sounds kookaloo, sounds movie-esque, but it's very real. Okay, I couldn't make this stuff up if I tried. And this painting was done before I did the Sistine Chapel, and a whole bunch of souls rose from that. Okay, and all the crosses burned and the Bible, and it was like all this darkness being exposed. Okay, it's like
the Sistine Chapel housed the cherub angels. That is who they were holding hostage. That is the depictions of the cherub angels painted on the ceiling, I believe, because all the paintings started crumbling, and then the floor opened up and it was nothing but fire. Fire is part of the rapture. Water is part of the rapture. Wind. Also, in day 7 of Birthing New Earth, I said there will be 3 main events that cause people to start to look up, to ascend. This may be one of them.
Like false. It was false. And then also I did the Nile a while ago. So I just thought this was the Nile painting, but it's everything. There's the pyramids, and then also there's San Francisco. The light will all be exposed. You know how we were being shy at this point, right? You know what I'm saying? But there's a difference. So I asked God about that too. I'm like, you know, some people see what I see, but they go to the extreme. They go kind of cray-cray. They end up killing people. The end is coming and they kill somebody. You know what I'm saying? Like, whoa. So there's a difference between truth and somebody who's wounded, right? Somebody who can't see all of the truth. They can see maybe some things. Fear gets involved. They want to fear mongrel. They want to control your decisions. You know what I mean? And so you have to know within the know. Does that make sense? Know within the know, and you only returned and activated. I did all of that, okay? Listen carefully, because I got a walk-in DM. I don't know this one, but I know my original. The new DM has not stepped forward as to where I know him. I don't know him yet. I feel him, and I love him. But I fell in love with him internally. I already love him. Let me tell, I already love him. He is already, will begin to shine through what was dormant and unaware. These are very vast, so listen to this many times over if you need to. I know it sounds simple, but they're never simple. Sparks of kindness, love will begin to shine through what was dormant and unaware. It's like major awakenings. People will rise to love. Now listen to this one. The Tower of London. And I was like, the Tower of London. And so I kind of looked up, what are the towers of London? And they named off a few. And then I got so many chills when they said the Queen's Tower. And I was like, oh, on my videos, the skin fell off of King Charles and his wife and stuff. And I also did a thing on,
the jab.
Oh my God, I'm sorry, my brain farted. Big changes are coming here too. Now listen to this one. Okay, I said the Tower of London. So I told you some big things are coming through. Fires of an unprecedented nature will occur, will suddenly come. Fires of an unprecedented nature will suddenly come this year. And I do see fires. Leaving some vulnerable and exposed. And I get chills when I say that one too. Okay, so the Tower of London burning to the ground. The Queen's Tower will crumble. Like a tower moment, right? Blah, blah, blah. Big changes are coming there too. And by the way, you want to know who made the V and the whole virus thingy? Was us, United States, and the United Kingdom together. So we are not separate. We do things a little differently, but we are totally connected. So fires of an unprecedented nature will suddenly come, leaving some vulnerable and exposed. And if you want to know where, they didn't tell you where. A lot of times they're not going to, because they're not here to create fear. What they're here to do is get you to see, to rise up and let everything else go, because we're going to have different experiences. And those that are rising can't focus on the darkness and can't focus on the fall. We have to focus on the rise.
There you go. So, on my channel, you will also find everything else that I spoke of, because God is pointing to the undoing of the pentagram, the undoing of the Sistine Chapel. Everything will be right here in the Return of Christ playlist, plus all of my videos relate to this stuff, okay? From freeing Jesus' soul, clearing Mount Shasta 1 and 2, Fiji activations of pyramids, sun being healed and removed and changed and aligned back to what's true, all darkness of the moon being undone, false concept of time being undone, Prometheus coming in and doing something big as well, and you have to be soul path aligned. Pyramid activations, all the feminine ones, the Sphinx, new chakra alignments, which was part of New Earth Blueprint, Atlantis being reborn, healing the collective and individual shadow, which you have to do individually through you. What the Return of Christ is my DM and I uniting, opening up the God portal, and then doing all darkness. And that's all been done. And then we have the anointing of the blood of Christ, not water, undoing the Holy Grail. I got a beautiful walk-in DM, which I hope he shows me who he is. I don't want him to pull a David and have it exposed. That will hurt. Then we have the Pyramid of Ecuador activations, the Pyramid of Kilimanjaro. These are all the masculines, and I talk about fires in almost everything that I do. Nigeria, Zimbabwe, Botswana, the Nile. Here's Mount Shasta Part 2, okay? Samael burnt. Fire, fire, fire. And they just told you in my 2020-25, that's a big deal. That unprecedented fires will suddenly occur, and they're not going to tell you where. Because that's about fear. That's not God. Fear is what will take you off of your timeline. It's knowing the change will come, because this is the rapture. Everything that was done outside of God has to pay what it's done. Why not everybody will ascend is because they don't want to see it. They don't want to heal. They don't want to believe God. They'd rather believe the Matrix. They'd rather give their power away to the Matrix. Okay? Religion must go. And then this was where the God said enough. 7-year tribulation, abrupt ending, and then the new earth birthing. Okay? This is where we're at in the new earth birthing. All right? The planets aligned this month, so we're already here. It's already integrating. Okay? Day 7, I told you there was 12 trumpets, 12 gates, 13th is heaven. 3 major events will occur on the Matrix side that cause people to look up and rise. I feel like this is one of them. Day 8, I got chills when I said that, but they don't give specifics, just water, tornadoes, fires. Day 8, rebirth, life, death cycle, the end, and that's when it's done. Okay? So we are currently in the process. Here is undoing the Sistine Chapel, undoing the money matrix. Very important, but this one right here. Christ return, undoing the power of the pentagon. All portals of darkness closed. Open elemental portal. Element portal. And now we have fires with their karmic kickback, okay? Who will win the presidency? That was accurate as well. So, I told you guys the fires were coming in an unprecedented nature. And they did very quickly. We're only in January, right? Like, it's time to rise. All karma should be cleared. Okay? Heal that shadow. A lens of love only. All right? So fear is what will take you off your timeline. So much love. Till next time.